Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Luiza Maua. If you're new here, karibu tena sana. So if you're also a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always supporting this channel. I don't take it for granted. And if you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing because why not? So in today's video, we are going to be talking about when is the right time to talk to your kids about sex. When is the right time to talk to your kids about sex? I know this is a very dreaded topic to parents, and today we are going to discuss how you can go about talking to your kids about this dreaded topic. And I hope that you're going to enjoy this video. Please give this video a thumbs up, yes, and make sure you comment and tell me what or how you do it. So without further ado, let's get straight to the video. So, in as much as this is a conversation that so many parents dread, it is a conversation that we really need to talk about with our kids, because let me tell you, when kids reach a certain age, they start getting this information from either their peers, the internet, or anywhere. So you can ask yourself as a parent, when is the right time to talk to my kids about sex? What information is good for them, or how will they handle this information? But to avoid misinformation from these other sources, these unreliable sources, you need to sit down with your kid or your child and try to talk to them about this topic, because let me tell you, whether you decide to talk to them about this topic or not, they will know, they will find out about these things, and it better comes from you than getting this information from unreliable sources. They will get this information from their peers, from the internet. These days this information is shared like it's, you know, it's freely available. But what is this child learning from these other sources? So for you as a parent, it is important to talk to your child about, no matter how uncomfortable or how dreaded this topic is, you need to sit down with your child and talk to them about sex so that you can avoid misinformation. That is the only way you can do it. So you might ask, what age is the right age to talk to my child about sex? It depends with you as a parent. But once a child reaches puberty, it is very necessary to talk to them about sex, because you don't want them to get misinformed from other sources. Okay? So I have talked about misinformation, and you can ask yourself, why is there so much misinformation going around? There are so many unreliable discussions about sex. Why is it that it is so hard for people to talk about sex? Number one, people in the society are not comfortable talking about sex. People give private parts nicknames. They look for other names to name these private parts, and sometimes they don't want to talk about it the way it should. And sometimes people don't want to talk to children about the differences between men and women, because there's a difference. People are ashamed to talk about penises. People are afraid to talk about vaginas. They will give these body parts different names. Even if your child asks you what is this, you will say this is this, instead of telling the child this is called a vagina, this is called a penis. Why do we avoid talking to them or giving them the right names for these body parts? The only thing that you as a parent should emphasize when talking to your child about these body parts, it's to tell them that these body parts are private. You should tell them that nobody should touch your private parts without your permission. Nobody should see your private parts. You should be able to tell them that they are private, but it is not something to be ashamed of. We should learn to talk to our kids about these things openly. And let me tell you, I really thank my mother, because my mom, when I was like 9 years old, my mom sat me down and talked to me about sex. And my mom was very, like, she was not ashamed about telling me the names of these body parts. She was not ashamed at all. And that is what we should do. And it didn't give me ideas. Let me tell you, you need to talk to your kids about these things as they are, not beating around the bush, telling them this is what it is called. Because if you feed your child this misinformation, you're continuing with the cycle. And this child will want to know what is this thing. But if you are upfront with your child, tell them this is called a vagina, this is what it does, your child will get the right information from you. So let us stop all this misinformation and let us give our children the right information about our body parts. Okay? Another thing, what happens, because this usually happens so many times, what happens when a very young child asks you about sex? What are you going to tell this? Because honestly, kids are very curious. They can see the difference between a girl and a boy, and they will ask you, why does she have this and I don't have? Or why does he have this and I don't have? They are very curious. They want to know why they have a difference. Kids want to know, where do babies come from? They want to know, they can see you pregnant. Why is your tummy big? But you need to explain to these kids on their level. Don't ever lie to your child, because it starts from there. They are very curious. It starts from when they are very small. They are very curious about their body parts, and that is the right time to tell them the truth. Don't tell them that you bought a child from the supermarket. No, don't tell them this is called a dudu or a, I don't know. People call these things funny names, but don't tell them the truth, but on their level, because this is a kid and this is a baby, and you don't want to give them so much information, but explain to them the truth, but in a way that they will understand. Don't misinform even the little kids, because most of the time people tend to misinform these little kids. Yeah, but don't. Just tell them the truth and tell them this is what happens, so that a baby is in my tummy. Yeah, honestly, it won't hurt them. It will just give them, information that they really need from you. Instead of going to get that information from someone else, they are getting it from you, right? Yeah. So the next question is, what are those key points that you should be talking to your kids or your older kids about sex? Number one thing, don't tell them that sex is a forbidden fruit. It is not a forbidden fruit. Honestly, it is not. And sex is not bad, but you need to tell them that sex must be done at the right time with the right person, and you should be able to tell them that they can always be coming to you if they face any challenges, so that you can be able to be friends with your kids, because this is the only way that your child will be able to come to you. If you are honest from the word go, tell them, yes, sex is not forbidden, but sex should not be done at this time. You should wait up until this time, and yes, you should do it with the right person, like that. But don't lie to them that sex is forbidden. Honestly, sex is not forbidden. It's just that you need to do it at the right time. And also, you need to tell them that they need to do it safely. Yeah, and we are going to be talking about safe sex and how you can talk to your kids about safe sex, but you need to tell them that sex is not forbidden, but they have to choose wisely. They have to make the right decision regarding sex. Okay? So the other question is, when should you talk to your kids about contraception? Let me tell you, when you're when you're giving these key points about when is the right time to have sex, the right circumstances to have sex, this is where you bring up the topic about contraception. You need to explain to them that sex is normal, that sex is normal, and that there are consequences of having sex. There are so many consequences, and now this is the point that you now bring in the topic of contraception, and you're going to talk to them about what contraception does and what it does not do, and this will just give them information that will help them when it comes to that time. They will be able to remember what you told them and know, my mom told me if I use contraception like this, I might not prevent, I might prevent pregnancy, but I might not prevent STDs. Talk to them. Don't sugarcoat it. Just tell them the truth. Tell them, yes, there are contraceptives, but this is what they do and this is what they don't do. So don't do this thinking that they will do this. Use them wisely. Talk to them about it, because one way, as I said earlier, one way or another, they are going to find this information out there, and you don't want them to find this information from unreliable sources. You don't want them to get misinformed. The point here is to give them information, to inform them, to show them this is the right way to do things, this is not the right way. And let me tell you, when you talk to your kids about these things, they get informed. And that is the whole point of talking with your kids about sex. Okay? So, there are people who are going to ask, will talking to my child about contraceptions make them curious to have sex? Will it make them curious to want to experiment on sex? The answer is absolutely no. Let me tell you, information is power, and you need to make your children your friends. You need to tell them that they can always come to you when they face challenges, but also emphasize on the consequences. Really emphasize on the consequences of having sex, because you're not going to be with your child all day. Like you can't be with them everywhere, but when you give them the right information. I will keep on repeating. Give your children this information so that they don't get misinformed out there. When you give your child the right information about sex, you talk to them about contraception, how you should use it and how you should not use it, and then emphasize on the consequences of having this sex. Let me tell you, your children will be able to make information according to what you tell them. Information is power. There's no way that you've told someone, if you go through that way, you're going to find thugs and they're going to steal from you, and then a person decides to go that way. If they decide to go that way, they already know deep down that if I go this way, this will happen. So it's the same thing. Give them the information and also tell them this information is not for you to do what I'm telling you. I'm just giving you this information so that you can be aware, and also I'm giving you this information so that you can know these things happen. And if you do this thing, this will happen. These are the consequences. Make sure that you really emphasize on the consequences. But above all, make these kids your friends. Let us make our kids our friends. Let us tell them that they can always come to you anytime. Don't judge them when they come to you. Just just help them the way you can. Don't judge them. Don't throw words at them. Just be there for them. Tell them the information, but make sure that you're always there for your kids when they need you. They can always come back to you. You are their first friend. You are their first person to ask information from. And if you do that, let me assure you that I was talked to about sex when I told you when I was 9 years old, and I didn't even think about it. I didn't think about I can go and have it, but I always knew because my mother was always basing it on the scriptures and telling me this is what should happen, and if this happens, your body is the temple of God, and I really took it like that. Just talk to your kids and tell them emphasize on the consequences. That is all I can say. But giving someone information won't make them do they won't go have sex because you told them about sex. Remember, even if you didn't tell them, they would get it from somewhere else, and maybe this place that they would have gotten it is not the right place, and maybe that place would have prompted them to do it. But giving them the right information won't make them do these things that you're afraid that they will do. So talk to them about it. Yeah, talk to them. So the last thing that we are going to talk about is, what if you are a male parent and you have a female, you have a daughter, or you are a female parent and you have a male son, or you have a male child. Is it possible for you to talk to these kids about, if you're a single parent to these kids, is it possible for you to talk to them about sex? It is very possible. It depends with you and also the child. If your child is not comfortable talking to you about sex, or you as a different sex parent are not comfortable talking to your kids about this topic, you can always assign someone that you trust and someone that your child is comfortable talking to about these things, because you don't also want to You don't also want your child to get information from someone that is not reliable. Always make sure, if you are not comfortable to talk to your different sex child about sex, always assign someone that your child, not you, your child is comfortable talking to them, and they can be able to ask them any question. Because at the end of the day, what you want to achieve from this is your child getting the right or the most accurate information about this topic. You don't want them to get misinformed. You don't want them to get misinformed. That is the most important thing. But if you can be able to talk to your child about it, why not? It is not a sin. It's not a taboo that you should not talk to your if you're a male, you should not talk to your female child about sex, or if you are a female, you should not talk to your child about, your male child about sex, But if you're not comfortable, or if you feel like your child is not comfortable, always assign someone, but make sure that someone is very trustworthy, and that they will give your child the most accurate information about these things. And most importantly, your child is comfortable around them, that they can be able to ask them any question that they feel they need to ask them. And I hope that you have learned something. I hope that this topic has really encouraged you to talk about your kids about this dreaded topic. As you can see, it is not that hard, but let's not dread this topic. Let's talk about this topic to our kids. Let's talk about sex to them, because we don't want them to get misinformed. And that brings me to the end of this video. If you really learned something, if you enjoyed watching this video, please talk to me in the comment section. Tell me, just tell me anything. Just tell me how you did it. Tell me how you're going to do it, or if you're going to do it, or if you learned something. I will really appreciate. Also, leave a like. And yeah, that's all for today. I hope to see you here next time. Up until next time, bye 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 bye.